This podcast is for informational purposes only. We are not medical professionals and do not provide medical advice. Consult a healthcare provider for any health concerns. Opinions expressed are not a substitute for professional medical guidance.
Welcome to the Optimize We podcast. I'm your host, Lindsay O'Neill, and I'm super excited to kick off this series of interviews and biohacking truths without the BS with you. Hello, and welcome to the Optimize We podcast, where we share biohacking truths without the BS. Today, I am joined by a dear, sweet, amazing soul and friend of mine, Dr. Mamta Bhatt. She is a scientist, she's an author, she's a holistic wellness expert, she's a health expert for both CBS and NBC, and she has had the most incredible journey over the last few decades, and I'm so excited to welcome you to the show today. Welcome.
Thank you so much. You brought tears to my eyes. That's beautiful.
You had an incredible journey, and I don't want to be the one to tell your story. I want you to tell your story, but I will just say that we've had to find time to record this podcast because you've been on TV a lot lately. Every time I feel like I talk to you, they're like, "Oh, well, I'm just coming back from NBC, or I'm just coming back from CBS, or I'm on the cover of this magazine, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that." So tell me how your story began.
It's been 8 TV health shows in the last 10 weeks. So it's been very busy. We just recorded a podcast on NBC day before, and I'm blessed and I'm really grateful because I'm so passionate about spreading the word that you can take charge of your health. You are empowered to decide how you want to live your life, and you can do it. So that's the overarching mission of this whole thing. And I think the one thing I want to say as we start this off is, with all the advances in medicine, the most advanced medicine is still love.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. You are just the embodiment of love.
Thank you. And my journey, which I'll share in a minute, is the story of being an overachiever, going and achieving as a scientist, as a perfectionist, and, just excelling in everything. Think of the pressure of that. And then coming all out into the world, and then coming back to myself, to love myself intensely and totally. And all healing began from there, when I chose joy in this moment over everything else. And that, I think, is the message for everybody. I don't care how many degrees one has and all of that, but our body, our cells are nature, pure nature. And they thrive with this energy called love. And what is love? Love is attention. Giving attention to our body and giving attention to our mind, what's going through it, and choosing the best most consciously is the start of everything miraculous.
That is beautiful. Now, you didn't always feel this way, though.
Exactly. It's been a very, very, very long, arduous, challenging, all the words in the world. So I will start at the kind of the beginning. I was blessed to have wonderful parents. Both my parents were highly educated, and we had this love for learning. So we had books all the time, hundreds and hundreds of books, whether it's holiday storybooks or other times, encyclopedias. I just loved poring over that. And my most beautiful memories as a child are climbing up guava trees. We had a huge yard with so many trees, and climbing up guava trees and sitting and reading. I don't know if you remember ever Enid Blyton. Do you remember that lovely author? She was a children's author. And sitting there plucking guavas and, reading my book. And those were just like timeless moments. And somewhere along there, I don't know what happened. I became all into books. and more achievement. I was working for very large corporations. I worked even on, I mean, that's another podcast, another time. I worked with NASA. I worked on bulletproof vests. Very exciting, very entertaining stories there. However, when one is fully, completely absorbed in achieving, we forget ourselves. And that's what happened to me. And even though, let me tell you, I was going for aerobics. Do you remember those days of aerobics? I used to go aerobics classes, straight from work and then get back home. But a very, very stressful life, lots of travel, lots of presentations, lots of, very high level conferences. And before I knew it, I was getting more and more sick, right? You know how I'm hoping that many women can hear this and relate and make a change, because what happens is very slow. It's a flu here and a flu there, and you're a little more tired and so on, and you keep popping pills. But eventually I burnt out and absolutely could not go. I had to fly for a very important meeting internationally, and I just couldn't get up. I was doing everything on willpower. I have a strong willpower, but this was just, that began a completely different path from where I was, loving and enjoying all that achievement, to suddenly having to pay attention to my body. And my body had, I've been always a very energetic person.
Yeah.
All my life, doing a million things, have so many hobbies. I just love, learning. And so this was a very new phase of my life, which I never knew would last that long. And I went to the best doctors in the US and was put on antibiotics, as you can guess. They couldn't figure out what was wrong because they just didn't know, is all I can say today.
And now at this point, you're a doctor, you're on stages all over the world.
Yeah.
You're traveling. Are you married, and do you have your daughter at point?
Yes, that's a very excellent point. Maybe this will also help any mothers that are listening.
Yeah.
I did not know what I'm about to share. So I had when I decided, I was going to have a baby, I remember my boss was so angry. He's like, "You're the high flyer. You're going to be like third from the CEO. How could you throw your career away?" And made me feel so frightened when this wonderful, joyous time is going to happen, right? And I remember so much pressure. Those were the days when there was none of this, as today there is so much awareness. After I delivered my baby, in 3 days, I swear, I'm really telling you, I was back at work, which means I was on, I remember my parents had come to help with the baby, and they were saying, "What are you doing? I said, "My boss, we have to be." So all of that, not caring, giving the body the attention after this incredible, process, which is miraculous. It was again back at work. And I think now, as I look back, I've spent so much time looking back to see what could I have done. I didn't know that 50% of women, after they deliver, have an underactive thyroid, because the process is so strenuous. So the symptoms of an underactive thyroid, one of the most least research diseases, in the sense that you can go to the best thyroid doctors today and hardly find the help that you need, is because it's a very insidious disease. You know this. Women start feeling tired and they think it's just childbirth, but nobody tests to see, is your thyroid underactive? Can we just monitor it for a while? So I think back then that's what happened. But of course, nobody checked it. I went to hundreds of doctors, the best and the best. Started a whole new journey of getting, more sick with more antibiotics, till I couldn't, I was 80 pounds, just a bag of bones. Yes. Terrible. It was terrible. Just didn't know what to do. Those were not the days of Whole Foods, hadn't come out yet. And I was still trying to find, somewhere the intuition was there to eat different or do something different. I went to what was called at that time alternate medicine, a clinic that had a Western doctor as well as a Chinese Ayurvedic doctor. I didn't know any of these two therapies at that time. And so I said to the Western doctor, I said, "Hey, could you help me? You've got all these other therapies here." And so I went to all of them. And I remember each time paying this is so many years ago, paying a huge amount of money out of pocket and coming back with these pills, trying to have them. I still couldn't eat or digest any food. If I walked 3 steps, I was like panting because I didn't have any energy. And they said, is it pneumonia? Is it? So waited tests after, that's a trying and, tiring time, right? You're testing after testing and nothing comes out. Eventually, I remember one day seeing the label on this bottle and it had this man in a turban. And I said, what is this? This Ayurveda comes from India. This is my country. Why am I going to some third-hand person who's not even knowing this thing properly? So I decided to go to the source at that time. And, being the overachiever I would go to nobody less than the president of India, his Ayurvedic physician. So,
yeah, of course.
Because I wanted the best of the best, right? Which was we can have another podcast just on that. Incredible. I have met incredible people in this journey, each one more magnificent, but somehow they were not to work out for me. But he went there, tried so many different Ayurvedic medicines, now started meeting through that many other alternate modalities. Remember, I'm a scientist. I want everything with proof, and this is already going out on a limb for me. But you want to get well, so you're ready to try anything. And so I started meeting through one place, another place, acupressure people, acupuncture, homeopathy, energy medicine, like people from Germany who were doing pendulum thinking. I was desperate to get well. It was more out on a limb than out on a limb. I'm laughing now, but it was a very, very difficult time. And I went to stay with my parents in India and with my little daughter. And my mother said, I'm going to take you to the best doctor. So we still went around another round of all the Western doctors there in India. Couldn't find anything. And then one day, I remember my mom so frustrated. She was so poor thing. Imagine you're a mother and I'm a mother too. If your child is lying there like, half dead all the time on the bed, like can't wake up, can't walk, can't eat anything, and one day she just said, it's all in your head. Just get up. And that just I know I've worked through all this. It's like a blessing to me. All of this was, we have to see all of it as a gift. So, but I'm just sharing the story as it unfolded. And I thought, oh my God, like now people think it's in my head and that's completely not the truth. And so I just wanted to run away somewhere where nobody would bother me, right? And I had no idea where. And I remembered having heard from a friend about this monastery, and I had never been to it before. I have no idea. Today it's all a gift and a blessing. I decided to go there because there nobody would bother me. Nobody would question that is it in my head, and I would have some space to think like, was it the water? What was it? The air? What is it? Because nobody could figure this out. So there I go, landed up in a monastery, thinking that I will.
At monasteries, do you not speak?
Okay, very good. So again, totally by chance, this turns out to be a really large monastery where I went. Totally by chance, no idea where I was going. So every monastery has their own rules, right? But the one I went to, you would be silent for like say morning till about maybe 10, 11 o'clock. And then there's time for service where you do service, like, you can wash dishes, you can clean the kitchen floor, the dining room, so on and so forth. And then you can serve food to people, right? So then there's, service activities. And then again, silence in the afternoon, evening, and then again, service. So it's all service and prayer.
Silence. Yeah.
Hymns and silence, yeah. So I can tell you from being such an active person in the US and being on the go, I think the thought of silence would be so strange to me. I'm sharing this for anybody else that may feel that way. But I can tell you, it was miraculous. It's like the healing balm my soul needed. I never thought I could ever keep silent, especially the mind, right? I have no idea. I took to it like a duck in water. And I just like my soul just needed it. Imagine if you're just gasping for water and somebody submerges you underwater, right? You've got so much of it. It like fills your soul. So of course I never intended to stay for any length of time. It was just like like a patchwork, right? I was just going along with it, trying to find a solution.
Right.
And the monastery life completely.
Did you end up staying?
So if people are ready to hear it, eventually it ended up being 2 decades. And 20 years, a little bit more actually. But so, of course, it was not with the intention of going there to stay that long, because that would have blown my mind, because I kept thinking I'm just going and fixing everything and I'll be back. I was very blessed where my bosses, everybody was like, yeah, she's going to come back. And where, so this overachiever.
Really upset. He was already upset that
I had a child.
and now you're gone for 20 years.
Now I'm gone. So I was just gone. I think that journey, because of course I had all the time in the world to introspect on what went wrong, right? Why did I get to the situation? In those years of the monastery, I think if you think of me being a highly left-brained person, trust me, my entire right brain got really activated with all the prayer. Of course, I was reading books and books on philosophy and all the world's religions and everything to do with, prayer from the monastery library, right? It had everything about all religions. So I was a voracious reader, but very fast I realized that this is not a place where you read and become knowledgeable. This is where you transform.
It's like a butterfly.
Yes.
From a caterpillar.
Yes.
A butterfly. But I have to ask you, what about your daughter? What about
Yes, beautifully said. Remember, I was at a place where I couldn't really take care of me or anybody else. And so the monastery, just for you to know which kind of place I went to, you get a room, and then she's got its own bathroom. So it's like, not like a hotel room, very austere and very simple. But you get a room, and then everything else is out there. Like there's dining halls. You can eat Western food. You can eat Indian food. You can eat, different types of cuisines, not like a restaurant, but very austere and all about prayer and silence. And so my daughter really was I remember taking her there first time, and somebody sat at the dining table and said, your daughter is so quiet. She's an old soul. And I didn't even know what that meant at that time. This was all woo-woo stuff for me. So she was a very quiet and very silent, very, very wonderful child. I was really blessed, and I am blessed. And so the option was then that there was a school attached to the monastery, and then she could study there. But the rule was that she cannot stay with the parents. She has to stay in the boarding school with the monastery. But it's right attached to the monastery. And you can see her 2 times a week. And once a week, you can have picnic with her outside in the fields. And you can bring food and feed them and spend a few hours. And the other time you can see her. So that's how it happened. Like I told you, the whole thing was an unfolding for me. And including the CBS NBC, you and I talked, and then it's all unfolding, and I'm just seeing the whole thing and realizing that it was all about really intensely loving every cell of one's own self, and then expanding that love to everybody that you meet, and then sharing that, as my mission is today, to help millions of people know that you are the CEO of your health, and you can do it by changing your mind, your perception, and your attention. I'm so passionate about it.
It's incredible that you spent so much time, quote unquote, away from your life.
Yes.
Even though that really became the most important part.
Yes.
Of your life.
Yes.
Of what you learned.
Yes.
A lot of people tell their stories of purpose through pain.
Yes.
But really, yours was more about purpose and message through transformation.
Absolutely.
And of course, there's pain that kicks off that transformation.
Yeah.
But you can't get to a deeper level of understanding of what the purpose is in life.
Yes.
And purpose really is self-love. And you can't love anyone else without loving yourself first. And I was just talking to my husband about this because our kids these days are growing up with phones in front of their faces.
Yes.
They don't have to get creative.
Yes.
They're never bored.
Yes.
And they're constantly bombarded with messages that are out there. And so how can they decipher what is their love and their purpose and their faith? And the only way to do that is through silence.
Yes.
And through service.
Yes.
Having gratitude and being a service to others. And so I love your mission and I love your message. Well, let's get back to your journey and your transformation, because a lot of people are saying, well, I can't go and spend 20 years living in a monastery.
Yes. And you don't need to. Yes.
And you don't need to.
Yes.
But coming back to your life,
Yes.
how did you go from being sick to being well?
Yes. This is beautiful. I want to share with you that even though I was in the monastery and I was learning all these things like, meditation like this, there's breath work like this. I was meeting enlightened masters. Wherever you go, you find the top of the pile, right? So in a monastery, the top of the pile is the enlightened people. And so I was meeting them. The main transformation that happened was when something inside me shifted. And I want to share that very quickly, that story, because I know we both were in tears when I shared that. It is that I was doing all of these things, but back of my mind was, okay, if I pray correctly, I will get well. If I do enough service, I will get well. And meanwhile, I was seeing many, many doctors and many, many alternate medicine people who were all coming to do service to this monastery and so on, but it just was not happening. And somewhere inside, when you have a goal and you don't achieve it, there is sadness, there's disappointment, then bitterness.
Yeah, frustration,
intense frustration.
Yeah.
And for me, I felt totally alone because remember, my family thought it's all in my head. And here I was in a completely new environment, trying to learn how to live here in this place, which is completely alien. I've never been in such a place. And I want to intensely get well. I remember one day, I clearly remember feeling bitter taste in my mouth. And I, of course, was a vegetarian, eating. We were doing intermittent fasting anyway, because when you live in a monastery, you don't get food all the time. You just get it at specific times. So I knew, something inside you knew that this is not like a bitter taste coming from the liver or something else. Something was I just felt very betrayed. Like, why didn't I get well? I'm trying to do everything, right? And all the prayer, all the meditation. And one morning I was walking, early morning, and I saw the sunrise coming through the trees. It was beautiful. And I remember I paused to look at it. And I just looked at it and a smile came on my face. And something inside me said, I wish I could be happy. I wish I could be happy because I'm waiting to get well, to be happy, unknown to myself, right? That's the goal. And then as I looked at it, this is the gift, the epiphany, that something inside me, my heart opened, my face was smiling. And as I thought, when would I be happy? And something inside me said, you are happy. You can be happy right now.
Just choose it.
And I suddenly, something inside me said this, and I kind of observed, and I was like, yeah, I had a smile on my face. My heart was open. Oh my God, illness and happiness could coexist. I did not know that. That was the biggest jump for me. And then I said, I'm not going to pay attention to this sickness. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to choose to be happy. And from that moment, my life changed. And within, when you're happy, you don't count the time and you're not knowing how things shape because you're like suddenly looking at the squirrel playing and oh my God, the leaves are flying in the wind and everything is there which can make you happy because you're choosing to see that. And that is the gift we can all give ourselves today. Because when I did that, I forget whether it was within a week or within 2 weeks, I suddenly got this idea. Wait a minute, I'm a scientist. I should be able to figure this out. All these years I was looking for some demigod out there to, tell me this is the thing that'll make you well, right? And so now I said, okay, let me research whatever I can. How did the ancient people get well without medicine? And then all the research I did, that time nobody was saying it. Today everybody's saying it, was food is medicine. And I said, well, I'm a vegetarian. Where am I supposed to go with this? And so I researched some more, and I came up with, then I looked through my blood test reports because I was like, what are these doctors looking at all these years, right? And so I saw some patterns, and, we can figure this out. We're scientists. And I made a protocol for myself, and I just said, okay, this is it. I'm going to follow this protocol. And I started following it for a few days. I think my body started really detoxing. So I was really going to the bathroom a lot. But within, I think, a week and a half, I started feeling wonderful. The biggest change was, I want to tell you, because I didn't tell you all the symptoms. I had 20, 30 symptoms that were plaguing me for so many years. The first thing that started happening was that all my allergies started going away. Wow. I had gone, Lindsay, for 30 years, I had a sinus problem. I had gone to people in Germany. I had gone everywhere. I'd gotten all the best sinus medicines, but nothing worked. All I did was change my food. And within a few weeks, I could eat all these things. I had no sinus problems. And that's when I started waking up like, this is really good stuff. Till then, I had no idea that, food, of course, it makes sense today, but that time I just didn't think of food as biochemistry. I didn't think of food as medicine. I didn't think that each one of us may be deficient in certain molecules. And if we supply those, we can heal ourselves. So it was miraculous.
Really quick. I want to take a 5-minute sidebar because obviously I'm a certified culinary medicine chef.
Yes.
I believe in the power of medicine.
Yes.
But there are so many different perspectives. Should you eat all meat? Should you eat all vegetables? Should you eat no grains? Should you eat only grains? Is the food pyramid upside down? Obviously, we all know seed oils and sugar are bad.
Yes.
But when you look at the bio-individual needs, are you looking at eating for your blood type? Are you looking at eating for your Ayurvedic type, right? Are you Pitta? Are you, are you Vata? Do you need heat and meat, or do you need raw and vegan? So how do you tell? How did you know?
Very good.
Where you should go with your diet?
I love it. So, what I didn't tell you all this time is, yes, I was reading voraciously. I went to the best Ayurvedic. I went to the best Chinese people. I actually traveled to Singapore and met real Chinese doctors who I had to get a translator, so, to get me the things. And I was getting medicines from there for 2 years. Like 20 years didn't happen just like that. I was trying so many things.
Right.
And I could just tell you, that's why I can tell you the one thing we can cut through the whole noise is listening to your body. Your body is the answer. And most of us are so up here in our heads, that this doctor has come out with this, I have to follow that. Listen to yourself. Just like the fingerprints are all different for each person, your body's unique to you. I create custom protocols for each person based on them, not some preconceived idea that this is good. And when I did that, for me, my body just was thriving so fast, right? Because it got what it needed. Now, if somebody tells you to have something and your body doesn't feel great, first of all, are you good at listening to your body? Because maybe it's detoxing and you're like, this isn't feeling great. So first is to listen to your body and become so good and so in tune every day. And you know all of this. I'm just sharing what we both know, is every day have a check-in with yourself. And for me, it's moment to moment, because I've been doing this for years, is is my brain like a little foggy today? Is my eyesight a little fuzzy today? Is my focus a little off today? Is there a bigger spring in my step today? Do I feel extraordinarily happy getting up today? Like, what's going on? And I always, always check back with what I've eaten the day before and so on, because I can tell you, and this is a good time for people to know, a lot of people eat out, except you and me, I know, because we're big, we love to cook our own food because we know that the food outside is 99.99% junk. But people who eat outside don't realize that they're eating sunflower oil, canola oil, rapeseed oil, soybean oil, one of the worst things to eat. And for me, as soon as I eat that, within half an hour, I'm yawning and sleeping. I already know what was in the food. It was not only was it highly inflammatory, it blocked my thyroid hormones. So
and it can have all sorts of effects. I mean, a lot of people get digestive issues.
Yes.
They have skin issues. Their hair starts to fall out.
Yes.
Their libido goes way in the toilet.
Yes.
There's so many things that food can trigger if it's not eating the right foods for you. Now, I know as a busy adult and as a parent, we have less time and silence and space to actually have that intuitive conversation. Hey, body, how do you feel about this banana? Hey, body, how do you feel about this steak?
Yeah.
But our children, I'm going to tell a terrible story.
Yeah.
My middle daughter, who's kind of like the lost child in the family, my oldest daughter was dyslexic and had a lot of processing issues with learning. And then I was hit by a car when I was pregnant with my youngest, and she had all sorts of health issues and concerns, as well as having food allergies. So with my middle daughter, it was just like, Shay, just eat this. I'm not going to make 7 different meals for everybody in the household. Like, just eat the raw carrots, just eat the raw celery. And she wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then the one time she finally, at I think 4 years old or 5 years old, ate a raw carrot, her whole face blew up. She knew that she had a birch pollen allergy. She didn't really obviously know this at the top of her head, but in her soul, she knew that raw carrots were not good for her. Raw apples, raw carrots, raw peaches, plums, any of the stone fruit. The birch pollen allergy can cause, not necessarily an anaphylaxis, but a really bad allergic reaction to some foods, raw foods.
Yeah.
And here I am thinking, just eat the damn carrot, you just eat it. Stop cooking. But how can adults, especially busy adults who are running their own businesses and have children and need to get them to soccer practice or, church on time or whatever it is, how can we fine tune and hone in on our intuitive knowing of what's good for us?
It's beautiful. So the first thing in any process, whether it's really becoming the world's best basketball player or becoming really good with eating food, I always say is giving yourself a few moments, if it's not silence, of just breathing deeply. As you breathe deep, you connect to source. And when you connect to source, you start getting all kinds of wonderful intuition. And when that intuition is acted on, very important, it comes more and more.
Right.
And the less you listen to it, the less it comes. So it is like anything. When, they say Michael Jordan, he was practicing 500 times every morning at 5:30. Yeah. That's what, what you do behind the scenes is what you then excel in on stage. Right. So the same way, if we can practice this without any goal every day, if you just get up in the morning in your bed and just practice, let's say 4 deep breaths, and each breath count to 4, then hold it, let's say to 5 or 6, and then exhale to 6 or 8, and we can do it together. I did it actually on NBC, and everybody was like, can we get the C-suite guys to do this with us today? Because it's really helping. So it's something I would highly encourage you to do as a practice, maybe before dinner. 5 minutes is a long time, maybe 2 minutes. Just breathe together, hold hands and breathe together. and you will see a different part of the person come out, because we are all divine beings. And we're just getting, sidetracked by everything going on in our minds. And as we breathe more and we connect to our true nature, the best of us comes out. The giving, the forgiving, the loving, all of these beautiful, selfless thoughts come much more easily when we are in tune with our higher nature. And
the despair stuff goes away, right?
yes,
Frustration with yourself, even self-loathing and self-hate.
See, all of that is just coming from disconnection with yourself. That's really the truth. It's self-judgment. All of these are the first things that need to be completely dissolved, because when you love every part of yourself, only then can you love your child or your partner, right? Or somebody else. And so I think if we can make this a practice every day, just like you probably go out in the sun and it's a practice, so you go for a morning walk. Same way, breath work is a very important part of practicing. And the more we do that, the more our children will become better at the saying, I don't think this is really good for me. I think I want to have this, and make healthier choices. Because every bite is a choice towards inflammation or towards healing. And that awareness, if as adults we can bring, I'm not saying don't have an ice cream here and there. Of course, enjoy life. But I'm saying is, as a general rule, try to give this awareness a chance rather than whatever's convenient.
Right. And that awareness really helps with other things too, because it's not just the food that causes the problem. It's also the stress. It's anxiety. It's the toxins. It's the toxic people in our lives.
Yes.
And when you take time to take a break from all of the stress, and you have a higher level of awareness and connection to yourself, then that's when you can identify, okay, well, I'm eating very healthy, right? And this is a true story for me.
Yeah.
I'm in the process of moving.
Yeah.
I have a husband who now has to have a second surgery in this year. I just got married. I have 2 kids in high school. I have 2 kids in middle school.
Oh my gosh.
The sports that I have to get to. I have businesses that I'm running. I have podcast episodes to fulfill. Just saying it out loud, it's overwhelming to me. And I'm sure everybody who's listening is saying, well, I've got more than that going on.
Yes.
When I take time to pause, to meditate, to pray, as I do every morning, and enroll my family in doing that, and every night.
Yes.
That has been the biggest biohack.
Yes.
The hyperbaric chambers. It's not the light therapy. It's not the peptide injections. It's not the supplements. And it's not even really the food. The food for many people is actually, it's not going to do anything if you don't address the underlying stress and disconnection. So I love that you brought that up as a way for people to get more in tune to what they could be eating that might be better for them.
Yes.
Because it's not even really about the food.
Exactly. And that's exactly why I wrote those 2 books, Journey for Joy and Recipes for Joy, because joy was the central factor, right? That completely transformed my life. So mindset is way before food. First, that mindset, and mind is directly connected to breath. So I encourage people, don't make it complicated. There's no need to learn all the science behind anything. Just practice. Implementation triumphs over any knowledge. So if we could breathe every day, and like you said, you're doing it in the morning. I love that with the family. First of all, I want to honor you. That was a lot of things you just said. I was just listening to you. Congratulations. That's a lot. Congratulations on your marriage. Congratulations on making this big move. That's fantastic. And 2 kids in middle school. My gosh, your hands are full. So acknowledge yourself, honor yourself, recognize that in the middle of all this, just you alone need time. Just you. Whether that means spending half a day in the park, even when you think you don't have. But remember, like me, you'll have to spend time later if you don't give it then. So you must do it now. That's what I say to people. You don't need to go to a monastery. You need to carry the monastery inside you, which is like a cave of silence, cave of breathing, cave of prayer, and cave of self-love, self-care. Be tuning in like, hey guys, it's too much. Mommy needs the evening off because you won't be able to function at higher level unless you do this. So pausing and resting to achieve even higher heights is what I recommend.
And also, your mom was not, moms are typically right. Your mom was not entirely wrong. You did have this different perspective, and life and healing, connection to yourself, to God, to others. It all comes from a shift, micro shifts in your perspective.
Yes.
You opened up not only your mind,
Yes,
but you also opened up your heart. So your mom
yes,
was right.
yes.
Half
And
right.
in fact, my mother, I thank her. She's passed away, but I thank her a million times because one of the most profound things in my life was that time in the monastery, and I am so grateful because she was just an instrument to nudge me to have the most extraordinary experience of my life. And I never thought, I'm just sharing with you, I never thought I was going to ever leave there. And it's miraculously surprising that I'm here. And obviously now I see I'm meant to bring that message to the world, because a scientist who then goes and lives there and brings that message in every cell of my being, it's a gift. So I'm thankful to my mother, and I'm thankful to every day in that monastery. And I'm thankful to all the people who are open to listening to this message, that joy is your first birthright. You are the first choice you need to make. And when you make that choice, all other choices will come out right.
That's beautiful. And it's such an important message to share.
Yes.
Now, when did you exit the monastery?
3 years ago.
So you've only been back in the real world for...
Yes, trust me.
What was it like being in a monastery during the pandemic?
None of the stuff that you hear. I heard the birds chirping so beautifully because more birds were out at that time, even though there's not much, like cars or anything over there. But because people movement was less, the birds were out. It was so beautiful, really silent and beautiful chirping for all different kinds of birds. I saw hummingbirds come out. I think the birds felt like, oh my God, we can reclaim our territory. So it was magnificent. And I think the thing that I think people have talked about many things about the pandemic, but I think the gift of the pandemic was nurturing ourselves.
It was, we were forced to.
Yes.
Focus.
Yes.
We focus on.
Yes. And that we can connect from miles away. Look, you're so far away, but I keep thinking you're somewhere near and I'm going to meet you any day.
You will. Absolutely. Next weekend, I think. But so your daughter is now in her late 20s?
My daughter, let me just share, now that you brought that up, as a proud mother, she went through that boarding school with great, she didn't tell me at that time, but it was very hard for her, obviously, because she was a child coming from the US, and so all the other kids kind of, didn't treat her really well, but she told me now, she didn't tell me that time. She came out of there, can you believe it, without any computers. There's no computers there. Over there, what are you taught? Love all, serve all. That's the mission there. Okay. That's the everyday goal, is love all, serve all. So she was like serving food to her classmates. This is what they're taught, as part of it. Love all, serve all. And so help the younger kids to get dressed, all these lovely qualities, which we, in the Western world, we have just put these aside. So she learned all these things. And like I told you, she was a really like a very indrawn child, but she obviously a great meditator, great, very, very, very bright child. Can you believe, without any exposure to all all this technology, because the school didn't have a computer, she came here, finished high school there, and came here to college. In the first year, she was in the top 5 kids in the college. And yes, she was on stage getting an award. And I was just like stunned there, thinking, this is just prayer. She went to Harvard, did her PhD in neuroscience at Harvard. And I remember they have a 4-day, sort of interview for many, many, many days. And I remember one of the heads of department saying to her, "We have read your story, and from where you've come so far, like, we're so excited for where you're going to go." So you want to hear, she finished Harvard, and she then did global investment research for biotech companies.
Wow.
And now she's an investment banker.
Wow.
Invest companies that are making drugs for cancer and funding them so that they can go to an IPO.
Wow.
It's incredible what things can happen from prayer, faith, being truthful to yourself. That's all I can say. It's just grace. I'm so blessed and touched that you even asked about her. And she's a wonderful human being, just a wonderful human being.
I can see how proud you are of it.
Yes, I know.
Mom, I feel the same way about my kids, and I always talk about my kids all the time. Probably to some of the listeners going, "Oh my gosh, our kids again." But it's so important to share. Even your kids go along in this transformation with you.
Yes.
They're not immune. They're not in a bubble.
No.
Your transformation. And that's why it's so vitally important, if there are moms listening to this,
Yes.
that you take this seriously.
Yes.
Because your life is happy. It can be happy.
Yes.
Just listening to the birds chirp.
Yes.
Watching the squirrels play.
Yes.
And I love that you are focused on joy in your message, and that joy has transformed your daughter's life as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I really do hope that people contact you.
Thank you.
Because it's not just about doing it for yourself and doing it alone.
Yes.
You have found so many people that helped guide you through your transformation.
Yes.
And now you are doing the same for other people.
Yes.
And so I want to take a minute to have you tell us what's the best way to get in touch with you.
I have a website, and that, I think you're going to share that in your thing. My website, www.drmamtabhatt.com. I am on Instagram at The Joyful Scientist, and reach out in any way. You can reach out to Lindsay and she'll connect you with me. And we are very excited. And Lindsay, you and me are going to do something great together. So we are going to create many programs to serve you in whichever way you need. We are going to reach out to mothers. I have people who are running podcasts for mothers. I will send your podcast to her so she can put it to her network. We want to reach as many people as would be helped, because right now in the world, there are 7 billion people, or now it's 8 billion. And out of that, 60%, so almost 5 billion, are sick. That's too many.
Inflammatory conditions.
That's too many. That's too many people.
Yeah.
When I'm here and you're here, we're here to help and to serve and to make lives better. Let that happen now.
Well, I want everyone to go, if you're on Instagram, go to The Joyful Scientist, at The Joyful Scientist.
Yeah.
And let me just spell out your website for you. So it's www.drmamtabhatt.com. So it's Mamta Bhatt, Bhatt. And you are an incredible human who has an incredible story. I'm glad that you resurfaced in this world. Thank you for taking the leap of faith and being so brave and being so dedicated and committed to your own healing so that you can help millions of us heal as well. So
Thank you. Thank you so much. You've been amazing.
Thank you for joining this week's episode of Optimize We. We loved having you along for the ride. Now, if you want to dive deeper into our guests' insights, be sure to follow them on their socials because trust us, it's worth it. And don't forget to connect with us either. We're at wellnesseternal_. Stay updated, join the conversation, and be a part of the growing community. Until next time, stay inspired, stay optimizing, and we'll catch you in the next episode.